Hey guys, I'm Azra, and in this video I'm going to show you the best in slot gear which I consider right now in 2.0 among the best weapons. And today we also received a patch where a lot of the race restrictions have been removed from a lot of gear. And let's just dive into the folder. Some of you have seen that I've prepared a few folders where I collect all the best in slot options, but take whatever I am saying with a grain of salt, since me too, I need some time to get adjusted to the new environment and the gear. Everything I'm showing you right now is brainstorming. I'm keeping an eye on all of these items I'm about to show to you. Let's start with the elemental damage dealing commander. So the weapons, right? Why do I consider the obsidian dagger best in slot? Well, obviously because of the highest amount of commander damage it has, plus the highest amount of focus. And initiative is always nice for damage dealing commanders to have a chance to outspeed the enemy. As a second option, the Morgul blade seems also very nice. And look at this, guys. Right now you have all of these races mentioned within this weapon. Before the patch, that wasn't the case. So that means now all of these commander types, like the different races, have access to this blade. That is insane. Morgul blade would be my number 2 if it comes to elemental damage dealers. Lots of focus, some defense, and also the precious initiative. As my third choice, I have the blazing tongue here, just because it has a bit better commander damage than the rest of these items to the right. You don't really need the +9 attack for your elemental damage dealer, but it is what it is. You can't change it. You at least have also +9 focus here. That is simply not the case with Mirkwood's Thorns. The blazing tongue has amazing commander damage and also the highest amount of focus for your commander right after obsidian dagger and Morgul blade. So these three options are my best in slot considerations for the elemental damage dealer. But you can still make do with a Mirkwood's Thorns, Bow of the Higher, Sandclaw. These items are fallback plans. That means not really best in slot, but still better than the purple gear you have. And speaking of which, Kaba will be your best purple item for your elemental damage dealer, followed closely by Warhammer and Elvendirk. If we take a look at the golden armor pieces, we will see that the protection of Numenor is outperforming any other armor, because look at this, tons of HP, the highest amount of focus, followed with us defense, and all of these races can equip now the protection of Numenor. That wasn't the case before. As a second best choice, you could go with the Great Plate of the East, and look at this. It doesn't even have race restriction. Everybody can now equip it. That is great. The new patch has given so many commanders access to gear that was unavailable up until now. The patch was today, and it is a great patch if you ask me. We now have more freedom to choose to build the commander we can with the gear we have. That is great. Not everybody has the right gear, but with this flexibility, we definitely can enjoy the game much more. As my next option, I have the Elven Cloak. That's the number 3 here, but it does have a lot of potential as well. It has overall good stats, also high plus defense, followed by unit defense. I mean, that may even be one of the better choices, maybe outperforming the Great Plate of the East. It's coming down to what you are fighting against. Are you fighting against physical damage dealers? Then the Elven Cloak may perform better. After that, we have the Golden Skin. This too is also a very nice item. I am keeping an eye on it. I'm not sure how it will perform with all of these stats. It almost looks like it was made for a hybrid commander, like it has plus attack for commander, focus for commander, but your focus damage dealing commander doesn't need attack. So that means you would prefer to give this to a physical damage dealer who could benefit from the commander focus, because commander focus translates to less elemental damage for your units, right? And for your formation in general. So maybe a physical damage dealer would be better off with that. But that is just brainstorming. We will see in time how things shake out. Mithril Coat, also an option, but not quite as potent as the options to the left. Blade of the Citadel, also, you should keep an eye on it. You can definitely use it. And your best in slot purple gear for your elemental damage dealer is going to be Hunter Skin, followed closely by Scout's Mail. What I like about the Scout's Mail is that it also has the initiative, but again, we will test and see how important initiative is for the damage dealers. You also have Quartered Armor and Superior Hauberk as a fallback plan, but not really that great. Helmet-wise, the number 1 so far I can tell is the Grey Wizard's Hat. Highest amount of HP with the highest focus and also some plus defense. This one is priceless. The Swan Helm is also a solid option. I do like the stats. Overall, it seems a good general item for your elemental damage dealer. The Ancient Numenorian Helmet. Now, don't really believe what you're seeing here with the race restrictions. This is the only only item which I couldn't find in its new version. Like, this is still before the patch. After the patch, I assume that all of these race restrictions are now gone. If you have that item, feel free to forward it to me via Discord. But long story short, the Ancient Numenorian Helmet is also a good fallback plan for your elemental damage dealer. You may even consider a Berserker's Gaze. It has some focus, high British stats, but not really ideal. The +9 attack seems kinda like a waste for your elemental damage dealer, but if you don't have the other options, you are kind of forced to use it. And then, if you don't have all of these options to the left, Bone Mask is still a good option. It's your best purple item in that regard, and you may even make do with an Easterling Helm if you don't have anything else. Looking at the accessories, I really love the Fine Smoking Pipe. Why do I say this? Because the Fine Smoking Pipe has +5 damage and very consistent, right? So it is giving you steady damage with tons of focus, which means more elemental damage with some defense for your commander as well. So this definitely is your #1 choice. As a second choice, you could roll with the Signet of the Barrows, also very decent. Drums of Barad-dûr is following it up. That is my #3 choice. And the Box of Knowledge has also something interesting built into it. Overall, good stats. It doesn't excel with the focus, but it has initiative, and we need to experiment how important it will be for the damage dealer later. Like alright, take it like this. The slower your damage dealer is, the more likely he may need initiative. That is my theory, and we will need to keep an eye on it, watch how it will shake out. And Rod Calabash, also an option, not really that great, but it's a fallback plan when you don't have the aforementioned item. Harp of Lothlorien is your best purple gear for focus damage boosting. If you don't have it, you can still make do with the Shield of the White Hand. That leads me to the physical damage dealers. Let's get going with the weapons. So of course the Axe of Khazad-dûm is outperforming any other damage dealing weapon. The Black Bow is your second choice. Just look at the stats, I think it speaks for itself. Cruel Hook as a third option does have some plus attack for your units as well. I think that is a good hybrid approach. Your infantry units, or now in 2.0 we call them small units, would benefit the most from plus attack here. Blazing Tongue again, also viable if you don't have the aforementioned items. And then it's coming down to experiments. I'm not sure if Hammer of Moria or Reach of Riddermark will be better. These two seem very close to each other, but Reach of the Riddermark has something the other weapons lack, which is initiative. So once more, keep weapons or items in general with initiative in mind to maybe give it to your slow damage dealing commander to compensate the lack of initiative. Nightfall, also an option, not really ideal, but it's a fallback plan, just like the Sandclaw if you don't have these weapons to the top. Battle Axe will be your best installed purple weapon, that is for sure, followed closely by Easterling Spear and Elven Dirk. Armor, oh boy, armor is also a bit difficult. I'm not quite sure if the Berserker's Raiment will be the best item for your damage dealer, but I assume if your damage dealer is slow, like Dwarven commanders, they tend to be slow, Dain, Gimli, etc. I assume they will prefer the Berserker's Raiment as the #1 choice. Warborn Battleplate, Massive Breastplate, also very viable options. Golden Skin, also very close in this competition. And I think it will be a race. You have to watch these 4 items, see which one is truly best in slot. Like I said, I think slow commanders will prefer the Berserker's Raiment, and the rest is up for testing. Your best purple armor will be the Scale Mail. Your slow damage dealing commander may prefer the Scout's Mail instead because of the initiative. And as a last option, it's not really great, but if you don't have anything else, you can make do with the Hauberk. Helmet-wise, I think the Cask of Ride is your #1 choice. Nothing comes as close to these stats as you see here. It does have the highest amount of HP with highest plus attack for your commander. That is just the nuke weapon, and big damage dealers like Dain will benefit a lot from this damage boost. Your second option could be the Berserker's Gaze. If you don't have it, Ancient Numenorian Helmet or Easterling Helm. Not really ideal, these two options, but it is what it is. You have to make do with what you have. The purple full helm is your best purple helmet here. I would say with +6 attack, nothing comes close to it in regards to purple gear. And then having a look at your accessories, the Palantir of Orthanc. Look at this, now has no race restrictions. It has become a universal accessory, which is great. You can now give it to all of your physical damage dealing commanders. #1 choice. The stats speak for themselves. Nothing comes close to it. Drums of Barad-dûr could be your second choice, or maybe the Box of Knowledge could be your second choice. Same logic, Initiative is needed to compensate the lack of speed. Androd Calabash, Lothlorien Belt, some fallback plans for you if you don't have the aforementioned items, and the Bone Talisman is going to be your best purple item, followed by Walnut Smoking Pipe, Piflane, and Shield of the White in this specific order. That leads me to my last type of commander. It is the troop boosting type, the troop buffing commanders. You could also differentiate between defensive troop buffers and also offensive troop buffers, sometimes even hybrid troop buffers, but that may be even some content for a whole new video. I'm gonna keep it simple and clean with just the troop boosting type. Let's get going with your best in slot weapon. I think it goes without saying that the gigantic hammer now, look at this, the race restrictions of these weapons have been widened. You now can give this weapon to so many commanders. Remember Gil-galad? He couldn't equip this weapon in the past, but all of a sudden it has become his best in slot choice. But generally speaking, your troop buffing commanders want this item. My Isildur already uses it, but now my Gil, for instance, can use it as well. Gil-galad always needed to make do with the Elven White Knife. Now that is no longer the case. Speaking of which, the Elven White Knife is now, I think, number 2 in choice. Gigantic Hammer has more command, more plus attack, should be your number 1 choice. Matic of the Iron Hills is also now without any race restrictions. Everybody can equip it. It's a little hybrid weapon. Commanders such as, I think, Elrond could benefit by this a lot. But then again, I need to do some testing to say which weapon will really stand the test of time. We just don't have the results out yet. Everybody is testing. We will talk about the results once we have them. Reckoning, I do consider as a fallback plan. Like, I pretty much consider everything after the Elven White Knife a fallback plan for your troop boosting commander. If I could, I would always prefer the Gigantic Hammer and Elven White Knife for my troop boosting commanders. If it comes to purple gear, the Mirkwood Bow will be your number 1 choice. And then in this specific order, I would choose the Uruk-hai Broadsword if I don't have a Mirkwood Bow, Uruk Crossbow if I don't have a Uruk Broadsword, etc, etc. You get the logic. If it comes to armor, similar like the Gigantic Hammer, nothing comes close to the Ranger's Shroud. This is just too good. Tons of HP, best attack stat for your units. You probably want to give this to all of your troop boosting commanders. Followed closely by Durin's Blade, but where does one say Durin's Blade outperforms the Ranger's Shroud? We will see in time when it makes more sense to equip this, but right now I prefer the Ranger's Shroud. High Elf Forberg, also fallback land. So is Tracker's Blade, Explorer's Outfit, Bone Armor. Not really great, but if you don't have anything else in this specific order, I would use them. Goblin Armor is your best unit buffing armor. It does have the +5 attack for your units, and that's all this is about. Superior Horback, another fallback land, just like Hunter's Skin. Helmet-wise, Hunter's Guide, just the best helmet for your troop buffing commander. Followed closely by the War Helm, and then you do have fallback lands. All, like every helmet that comes after the War Helm is a fallback land. That means if you don't have these 2 helmets, you have to make do with these helmets to the right in this order. Your best purple helmet is your Trapper's Hood with +6 attack. It is outperforming the rest of these items to the bottom, as you see. Now that leads me to the accessories for your troop boosting commanders. It goes without saying that the Carved Dragon Tooth is for sure the best in slot option here. Very hard to come by since you receive it after you are placed number 1 after a season, but still, if you can have it, equip it. It's the best. Second best would be the Orphan's Devilry. And look at this, no longer race restricted. Everybody can now equip it. That is great. +8 attack for your units. That is what I'm looking at with the high command stat. If you don't have the Orphan's Devilry, Nightstar, also a very solid option. Not as much as the Orphan's Devilry, but still, it is good. I still consider these 3 items best in slot for your troop buffing commanders. Meara's Reigns, Fiddle of the Elders, Silverharp of Rivendell, also good options. Maybe some niche uses, but I still have to see where exactly do they may outperform the other options here at the top. Wizard's Fireworks will be your best in slot purple option, and then I'll just have to see about Erebos Pride, Defender of the Mountain, Lothlorien, Belts. Right now I just don't know in which niche uses they may outperform the number 1, 2, or 3 choices. Drums of Moria, fallback plan. But yeah, I think you now have a good understanding, or at least a vague idea, which items hold some potential within it. I always consider the first two options the items with the most potential. Keep them in your inventory, don't get rid of them, and let's see how the meta is shaking out and what of these items will truly be considered best in slot. For now, these are my ideas. Maybe this was helpful to you guys, since a few of you reached out to me asking to get access to the content of these folders. So here you go, guys. This video is for you. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like, consider subscribing, and share the video. That is helping a lot against YouTube's algorithm. You can't imagine how much you're helping your Uncle Azra. And with that being said, I see you guys next time.